show in Paris. Did you like it? It was the triptych.
Well, it's always like a real trial to play in a little club that's so crowded and hot and everything. But at the same time, you get kind of excitement sometimes you don't get any other way. So, that was good. I have to say there were some real jerks though there that night.
Which music do you currently listen to?
Currently listen to? I hardly ever listened to anything that was made before about 1975. I listen to a lot of jazz singers, especially little Jimmy Scott, Dinah Washington, Billie Holiday, what I've listened to all my life.
A lot of singers.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of R&B singers like Jackie Wilson, Bobby Blue Bland, old what they call blues shouters like Wynonie Harris, Roy Brown. I just discovered some African music I really like. It's like Ethiopian jazz from like about 1972.
Like Fela Kuti?
Yeah, I love Fela, but this Ethiopian stuff is different. It's got a more of an Eastern sound. It's like a snake charmer jazz or something.
You seem to dislike English New Wave. You don't like Clash, Sex Pistols, and the others. In which way English?
I like the Sex Pistols,
yeah.
but to me those bands, they all sounded the same. I mean, not completely, but they all had a very similar sound, and they didn't have much variety in their music. It was all really kind of gray sounding to me and all. And I like music that has a black influence, basically, and theirs doesn't have any. So, okay, next question.
Even in your shows, there is a little James Brown influence.
A little. There's a lot of James Brown influence. My whole stage act is patterned after James Brown, and plus, the whole approach to music, to funk, is from James Brown. I basically took like James Brown funk and put free jazz on top of it, but he did that himself on Superbad and some other records. So when I heard Superbad, I thought, that's the way to go. That's like the blueprint.
And Fela Kuti, how were you connected with African musicians and African jazz? And
well,
African music?
I found a Fela Kuti record on the street. I wouldn't even have a cover. It was one of his early records, and it just looked interesting. And I bought it for like 10 cents, and I really was knocked out by it. And then, I slowly discovered some of his other more well-known records like Zombie, and I actually had two African musicians in my band for a short while in 1979. They were the first horn players in James White and the Blacks, were two Nigerian guys, and they had that sound just like Fela's horn players.
By which form of art are you influenced?
Yeah, well, in my music, I guess the most other form is just definitely film, and in particular film noir. And especially this is my new album.
Yeah, okay.
It's called Down and Dirty. It's with a different band, Terminal City.
Okay.
And I played some couple of songs from it at the triptych. It's much more jazz influenced, but it's very influenced by film noir. If you look at the names of the songs, about 5 of them are actually names of movies, like Street with No Name, Blonde Ice, The Setup.
Can you talk about the Z Records and how did you work with them?
Well, Michael Zilka just came to New York. He was kind of a rich kid. He had some money and he wanted to start a record label. And he just told me, I want to record Contortions, but I also want you to do a disco album. And he just said, here's the money, do a disco album. And that's all he said. He just left me to it. Just my idea of what disco should be. And that was the Off-White album. And then later, on the song Contort Yourself, we brought in August Darnell to remix it and make it more like real disco. Because I didn't realize that disco was, I thought if you just gave it a disco beat, then it was disco. But I didn't realize that it had to be at a certain tempo, it couldn't be too fast. And my music tempos were very fast in those days, so So the first version of Contort Yourself, when we actually played it in the disco, it was way too fast, you know, for the disco, for a real disco audience. So they brought out, you know, August Darnell, and he actually physically slowed it down and added, you know, percussion and some stuff that was a little more like the disco cliches, you know, but of course it didn't sound like that on my record. He actually did a very good job.
Everybody heard about your Liberas jacket.
Oh yeah.
From the beginning, the look is very important for you in this matter. Are you more influenced by movies or musicians?
Well, actually, it was my lover and my manager, Anya Phillips, that she totally came up with the entire look for me, from head to toe, you know, and just created it out of her own head, you know. I mean, you'd have to ask her what her influences were, but she's dead, so you can't. So, and I basically used the look she came up with a few variations ever since then. Okay.